This is a quick tutorial to help you image a micro SD card for the new SensorGnome version 2 software. There is a really nice user guide for the version 2 SensorGnome and the software in the Modus docs. And the link is in the description below, or you can copy it from this bar here. So you can consult this to take you through it, especially if you click the initial software installation component of the docs. So all of the information is here. I just put together a simple tutorial to hit the highlights and get you with an properly imaged version 2 micro SD card. So you need a high quality micro SD card. This is something that's going to have data written to it and erased from it over and over again. There are a couple out there. The Samsung Pro Endurance 32 gigabyte micro SD card is a good one. You can find this at any of a variety of online retailers or local retailers. It runs anywhere from $10 to $15. So that's a good one. That's what I'll be using here. You need the most recent release candidate of the SensorGnome version 2 software. You can find that at www.sensorgnome.net/download. That's also in the description. At the time of this video, it's April 2024. The release candidate 14 is the newest one available, so that's what we'll be using. You simply download that. And then you need a Raspberry Pi imager for your operating system. This link is also in the description. It's www.raspberrypi.com/software. You have to scroll down a bit from the top. The Raspberry Pi imager. I'm on a Windows machine, so that's what I'll be using, but it is available for Linux and Mac. And then once you have that, what you can do is insert your micro SD card into your computer. And if you get anything related to scanning the device for errors, just ignore it. We're about to reformat the whole SD card, so you needn't mess with that. Then you need to open the Raspberry Pi imager. Definitely allow it to make changes if you're prompted for that. And this is the interface you have. So we're going to skip over the Raspberry Pi device. We're going to choose as our operating system that zip file that we downloaded. So you scroll all the way down to the bottom and say use custom. And then when you do that, it's going to ask you to navigate to that most recent release candidate zip file that we just downloaded. You select that. And then for choose storage, you navigate to the file, the drive that is the new micro SD card that you just inserted. In my case, that's the F drive. Yours may be different, but it will say SDHC 32 gigabyte if you're using the same card as I am. Select that one. Then select next. And it will ask you if you'd like to customize some settings, and we will. So say edit settings. And you get an interface here with 3 tabs. We're going to focus only on the general tab. Under the set host name, make sure that it says sgpi.local. For the username and password, I tend to use as my username GNOME. You can use whatever you'd like, but I use GNOME just for consistency. The password is something that you can set for yourself. In this case, I'll just as an example use ABC testing. You can ignore configuring the wireless LAN unless you are setting up connecting this to a a wireless network. You can also do this later in the SensorGnome interface, so I simply skip it here. The locale settings are set for my location, and that's all. Hit save. And would you like to apply these? Yes. And now this is your last chance before everything on the card is erased. So if you want to continue, if you're sure you have all the settings as we've discussed, then hit yes. And it will write the new image to the microSD card. This will often happen. You can ignore it. And click back over here to the Raspberry Pi imager. So avoid any temptation to click buttons while the imager is writing and subsequently verifying the image. Once it is done, it will let you know it's done. It will often eject the card from the device. So now it's just a waiting game. This usually takes anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. It's not a very long process. We fast forwarded a little bit to get to the end here. This is the success note you get at the end that it was written. You can remove it. So that is it. You can eject the card without any special operations, and it's ready to insert into the Raspberry Pi inside your SensorGnome. And you can check out the subsequent video for the initial setup of that version 2 SensorGnome once you've started it up for the first time with a newly flashed or a newly imaged micro SD card. So that's it. Pretty straightforward. Doesn't take very long. Just need a few pieces of information and software, and you're good to go.